Okay, my name is Carl. This is a little out of focus, right? Not to add, but a little bit. All right, I hope to bring some things into focus for you today. And I have to thank Tobias for pulling this together and making it happen. Right? Seriously. Okay, so I'm from something called the Zeitgeist Movement. Is that a little too long? And we want you to watch two films, Zeitgeist Moving Forward and Zeitgeist Addendum, and we have DVDs to hand out to you. Many of us have diligently already been shoving them in your hand, so if you don't have one, just raise your hand and we'll get it to you, okay? Right there, Malik, this, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm very happy to be here and talk about sustainability. We've heard a lot about sustainability today, and what I want to try to do is tell you that something called a resource-based economy is the true and final way to get to full sustainability, because it takes away the detrimental effects that keep us from sustainability. So why are we talking about sustainability? I mean, why is it an issue that we feel we all need to get together and discuss? I mean, why is it not happening? Humans are smart, and this is a smart way to live sustainability. It's self-evident, as it were. And it's natural, okay? So what I want to try to tell you is that the thing that keeps us, the thing that keeps us from sustainability is our monetary system, is money, okay? Now, I don't mean capitalism, all right? Communism, socialism, these are also forms of these are monetary systems. I want to tell you that what prevents sustainability is that if there is not a profit in it, it doesn't get addressed, okay? Issues of the commons, issues of global poverty, issues. We live with these commercials. We just live in a world of lies. And what I want to try to do is show you that money is the root cause of these issues. And if we move out the money, we're going to move away the incentive to do things that keeps us unsustainable. Okay? So money, gotta go. Now, I had said that money, it was self-evident that sustainable living is the way to go, the way to be as intelligent people. And this is why we get all the lip service, like we go to a global summit on global warming and we make a pledge that by 20, never mind, it's so far in the future, we're going to reduce emissions by 20%, you know, and then these dates come along and the pledges aren't kept. And this is really why. We pay lip service to it because you know it's the right thing to say, it's the right thing to do, but we don't really do it. Okay? First of all, environmental sustainability. Now I'm just pulling out some examples to show you why things are not sustainable because the money's not there. Okay, here we've got a very scary thing. We are running out of dirt. All right, now when I heard about this, I was extremely skeptical. Okay, we're running out of dirt. I mean, it's beneath our feet. What are we talking about here? Okay, so humans have historically consumed topsoil at a rate faster than nature can restore it. Now I bring this up because this is where I first learned from this author, Edward Ayers, about the issue that topsoil is being degraded at a rate that's not sustainable. Okay. Here again we have another author, and I didn't get all the way through his book because it's very lofty. All right, but he points out that since the 1600s, which is after the age of discovery, and people are now really populating North America, it has been estimated that 75% of the world's topsoil has been lost. Okay? Estimated, right? Estimated by who? By people who want to tell you that there is a crisis. Okay? So I'm extremely skeptical when I hear about, you have to consider your source, but whether they're exaggerating or not, the stats show it. We know that it's a truism. The earth beneath our feet is not the kind of earth that you can grow in We need nitrogen-rich, nutrient-rich soil churned up by the earthworms. I mean, you can grow radishes here on the streets of Newark, but in order for crops to grow, we need serious topsoil. We saw this in the Dust Bowl, etc. So we've got a crisis. Okay? Each year, 30 billion tons of soil is lost to erosion. All right? Next, I want to talk about styrofoam and plastic. Okay? Now, styrofoam and plastic, you remember Wall-E, right?
That's her nickname.
Is that right? This is a movie that's vision, okay? Well, I mean, why was this movie made and why was it successful and popular? Never mind Disney's money. This was a movie that said the world's going to become a junk pile, a garbage dump, right? I mean, plastic does not biodegrade. Now, that's not really true. It does a little bit biodegrade. You know, it's not 100%. But it's not, it doesn't biodegrade into something that is, it biodegrades into chemicals that poison the water tables and do us more harm, okay? So this is our vision of the junk heap that's going to become the earth. And why was it, nobody saw this movie and said, hey, what? This is a horrible thing that this is BS. No, everyone saw that. This is the logical conclusion to the world we have now. Probably not going to happen like Wall-E, but you can see why they wrote the story that way. Okay? They had the people on the ship come in, big and fat, everybody's white, all of the, you know, but seriously, you look at our real world and they make a story and nobody in the theater goes, I'm not watching this garbage. They believe that that's a logical conclusion. Go ahead, Elliot. Speaking with you about this movie, right? This is, I wish this was more in focus, but nonetheless, little tiny pieces of plastic get dumped, you know, into the water. Nobody's looking. And where does the current naturally bring them is to these two focal points. Now, larger than Texas, again, this picture is an exaggeration. Always be skeptical of people who want to tell you the world is coming to an end. But they don't, in my opinion, they don't need to lie. They could really show Texas here. Have you been to Texas? I mean, Dallas to San Antonio is a 6-hour drive. It's not like New Jersey. No way to clean this up either. Why would we? Who will do it? In whose economic interest is it to go scoop up all? Now, these plastic pieces aren't the floating water bottle and the milk jug. They started out that way. But as they're in the environment, they break up into tiny, tiny little pieces. And now a whale's coming along, eating a lot of krill, and he's eating tiny, tiny pieces of plastic too. So therefore, it's in no one's best interest, even to scoop it up and like recycle it and you make money that way. It doesn't pay. Okay? Now, there is a solution to styrofoam and plastic, and believe it or not, it's mushrooms. Okay? This kind of fungus. What you do is you take the waste of farms, which is like hay, straw, cornmeal, etc., that they're not going to use. You grow this fungus within it. Then after a 3-week period in which it grows into the shape that you want to mold it into, you put it into a kiln, or kiln, whatever the word is, and it gets baked, and now it won't grow anymore. Now it's passed on, okay? And this is completely biodegradable, okay? I wouldn't advise it because it's been shipped, but you can even eat it, all right? Now, what if McDonald's was handing out styrofoam cups of coffee, but it wasn't a styrofoam cup at all, right? It was this. Now, these can go to the landfill, and that's fine. And what's going to happen is they'll degrade there, they'll become mulch, and then it'll be sustainable. The company that's doing this is one company, okay? So even though we've got a path to sustainability with this plastics and styrofoams, the economic system, they're one competitor amongst an entire industry that's already in bed with Coca-Cola, that's in bed with the furniture companies that are shipping. They make the little plastic popcorn for shipping materials in boxes. These guys don't have a chance. They can have a good company, they can make themselves a living, their CEO can play golf, but it's not going to change, our dilemma. Okay? All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on a little quicker because I really have 10 minutes. I want to talk about a system of boom and bust here, okay? We have a non-sustainable physical situation as well, all right? To move quickly, because I don't want to run out of time, we had a serious crash in '72, and that began our roller coaster ride of boom and bust. Reaganism brought along deregulation, heavy stock investment, 401k started happening, and now the stock market begins to boom, and we have the savings and loan scandal, which is very analogous to the 2008 crash, okay? It's not exactly the same, but it was about these cheap mortgages that really couldn't get repaid. It wasn't your average individual person that was doing it. It was big companies that were borrowing and then couldn't pay back. But nonetheless, it was very analogous. '87, there was a crash. We had our internet bubble pop in 2000. We had the housing market die in 2008. And another thing is inflation. Inflation is really back up one. Inflation is really a real thing, that it's non-sustainable. You've heard about, when I was a kid, coffee was 50 cents, all right? Now I'm at Starbucks for $2.85. Really though, what we do is we go to the Fed and we say, we would like to borrow, $2 million. And they say, that's fine, okay. You print some savings bonds and give them to us with interest, all right? So they're printing, we're printing, we exchange, all right? The interest on that we promise to pay the Fed back, where does that interest come from? Printing more money at the Fed. So we ask for more. You see how it's non-sustainable? But it gets much worse than this, and this is where really inflation comes into play. Today, the bank has a reserve system by which they can loan out a certain amount of money, and they only need 10% of that money in the bank in case, people want to come in and get their money out, okay? So if I say I would like to buy a house, it's a $500,000 house, they only need to have $50,000 in their bank accounts to give me that $500,000, okay? And how do they make that $500,000? They just type it into a computer. Because of the reserve system, they have that ability. So now 50,000 has become 500,000. And I'm promising to pay them back at interest. Now, you say, okay, so that's terrible, inflation goes up, but it gets so much worse. Now, I owe them, let's say $750,000 after the interest is paid back. They take this piece of paper and they put it on their asset list. And now they don't have $50,000 to lend out $500,000. They got $750,000. That's only 10%. What is the math? Is that $7.5 million that they can loan out with not having the money? This is why we have inflation. This is why it's an unsustainable system. So let's talk about the commons now, and I'm trying to move quick. The commons is that area that we all share, but no one has responsibility for, okay? It's the ozone layer. Who owns the ozone layer? Nobody. Who's wrecking the ozone layer? Everybody, right? Individually. We're burning fuel in India. We're burning fuel in China. There's no one that governs the commons, okay, to make things better. We all burn the fossil fuels. Nobody's up there in the Arctic watching what they're doing. And that's the real trickle down, right? Whatever they do up there, it's coming down into the ocean. But the companies will go up there and they'll do their drilling and they will do their spilling, and they're just one individual. They're not going to clean it up and take care of the Arctic. Nobody's going to agree to that. It's in no one's best interest. It makes no money. We have, right now, the technology and the abundance to feed the world. But we don't. Because it's part of the commons. It's not my problem. Okay? For instance, we heard a lot about fresh water and purification systems, and there's something called the Slingshot. We heard about the electric generation that can happen in a rural situation, in a third world situation. We've heard about desalinization, okay, taking the abundant water of the ocean and now making it pure. But we can't do these things because who's going to pay for them? They have to be bought and purchased. You got to buy the Slingshot, you have to buy the generator, you got to get it to Kenya, you got to get it to Chad. Okay, who's going to do it? Nope. Now the UN does the lip service of, okay, so I have 5 minutes. This is the obvious one, right? Why are we smoking? Come on. But that's so obvious that the right will roll their eyes when you bring it up. Oh, this again. But come on, that thing is making Virginia farmers money, not factory farmers, money. If this came out today, it's, whoa, that's killing people. There's no way. But it's in no one's financial interest to shut this down. And who pays, right? Who's smoking? The Virginia farmers? I started smoking at 16, okay? Stuck for life, all right? I am not smoking right now. I'm on this e-cigarette. You're not going to kick my ass. All right, let's move on. So what I want to show you is that all of these things, Elliot, we can, okay, how do we fight these problems? And I have so little time, I'm just going to have to run through it. Will a boycott work? No. But it'll shut down this one place, right? Everyone boycotted McDonald's because of the Styrofoam, and they took the Styrofoam out, right? Are we cool now? We're better? You see, it's a drop in the bucket and it's a Band-Aid. Can we go to Congress? Let's go to Congress. Like, we're running out of dirt. So the answer is hydroponic, vertical farming, leave the soil alone. It's easy, right? We just go to Congress, they make a law, the companies do it, right? The money prevents that from ever really happening, okay? Not just the campaign contributions, the whole, see, Congress doesn't have their radar out looking at the human frontier, thinking about what are our problems and how are we going to solve them. No. Lead paint is not banned until everyone's sick. Then we must do something, you know? Okay. I'm just going to have, okay, make a documentary. Tell me, when this gentleman came up and spoke with us about global warming, who was it new information? Right? Everybody knows. And he's good. You're right to lead the good fight, and we should see the desert that we're going to become. They put the onus on you when it's the system, okay? And making exposés 60 minutes. Everybody already knows. It's the people in power who have the money that need to be. Okay, but we can't fight the 1%, so I say take the money away. Will the legal remedy work? Let's move on. Here's my wrap up now because I'm running out. Okay, first of all, we're not crazy. We know that we're not going to take away the money, right? That's not the way it's going to happen, really. So what we need to do is get our awareness going on that there's something called a resource-based economy. Okay? Not for our generation necessarily, but if we all begin to learn about what is a resource-based economy and people begin to know about it, 50 years from now, maybe it can become a political force. 80 years from now, maybe it can actually have some representation somewhere. Let's just get the people thinking about it, okay? No more money, who's going to do the work, right? Did you know that only 25% of the jobs today are not about money, okay? When you take the money away, people say, okay, you'll have no more bankers. You'll have no more accountants, but it's very deep. Right here in every aspect of a company has to do with money, even though they are, I'm really running out of time, so I got to move. Respecting human health and the earth, recognizing that human progress is emergent. You have an idea, I have an idea, we collaborate, and out of it grows something else. We have stodgy, large organizations right now, like a government, like a church, like our society, and they want to keep the status quo and hold us back and suppress new ideas. But all of our progress has come from emergence, has emerged from different ideas getting their say in the light of day. And natural processes are symbiotic. That is true sustainability. And if there is no monetary incentive for us to do otherwise, then our incentives change. How can we help people? How can we stop hurting people? How can we really get the water clean? Okay? Cleanup doesn't cost any money. Okay, there's so much more I want to tell you, but I don't have time. So, please take a DVD from us and let it do the selling to you. All we want to do is spread awareness that something called a resource-based economy really does exist. It's like your family. This morning I gave my boys, I gave them breakfast, I gave them cereal, I had the bowl, I had the milk, and I did not leave a bill on the table. We need to think about feeding the human population because we're all human and they're all our family. I'm not crazy. I'm not saying today. I'm not a hippie. I'm saying let's learn about a resource-based economy so that our children's children could maybe begin to stand up to these great powers and make it a reality. Thank you very much.